Hello everyone. I want to talk about the journal experiment that I have been doing for about a week and a half now. I've made so many breakthroughs that I wanted to share with those people that have said that they're in the same boat as I am, that they're struggling as badly as I have been. I have been struggling with this for many years. I want to be an art journaler. I love looking at people's pages, and I want to do all those wonderful things that these people are doing. So I want to talk about just the basic concepts of my idea, and I'm trying to do this without rambling. I did a video yesterday and I rambled quite a bit, and I'm trying to do this video with more of a clear head and more of an idea of the concept of what I'm working with. So this is the journal that I am working in. I started with some signatures, and those are the signatures I started with. They are junk paper that I was going to throw away, some menus, some book pages, junk mail, maps, just stuff that I wanted to use, and if it didn't work, I could throw away without anything bothering me. So I had been working in these little signatures by themselves, and now I have got to a point where I decided I was going to put them in a book, and I chose one of the papers that I did yesterday. The technique that I was showing when I did this paper was the dye ink techniques. And what I did this morning is I just stenciled with some acrylic paint, some triangles on top of that, put it on a piece of cardboard, and I sewed my signatures into this. This is what I will be using for my experiments to continue on with all of this. So I debated about sharing the journal because part of the concept that I'm working with is getting those images of those pages that I see. Need to get those out of my mind. I need to stop comparing myself to all those other people and what they're doing. I need to stop comparing my experiments, my little playing efforts. I need to stop comparing them to somebody else. And how I thought of this is, I'm just a beginner art journaler. I've not done anything yet. I have struggled to try to do things and have stopped. So I consider myself like a first grader. I'm just beginning. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know how some of these products work. I don't know how to play with these products. I don't know what they do. I don't know, what to do with them. So I'm just a first grader, and here I am comparing myself to someone who's in high school. That doesn't make any sense. So I decided to go ahead and get those images out of my mind and to go ahead and write down some techniques. Now, like I said, I debated whether to show the pages of this journal because I don't want those images to be in somebody else's head, and I don't want you to try to experiment the way I've experimented. Your experiments and your playing is not going to look like mine. Yours is going to be completely different. You have different colors, you have different stencils, you have different products. So the only reason I'm going to show the book so far is I'm documenting this journey for myself. I want to see how these pages progress as I add things to them and as I learn to play with products and learn to enjoy the process of playing. So while I'm talking about the concept, I will go ahead and flip through some of these pages. Just keep in mind, this is not what you're going to be doing. Yours is going to be different. This is just an idea of how to how to start, and how basic these techniques that I'm using are. So this is turning out to be a very messy experiment. And I was comparing myself to somebody who had been doing it for a very long time. Well, I am just a beginner, and I don't know all the new products that are out there. I have been away from paper crafting for 12 years. There's a whole lot of new stuff out there that I have no idea how to use. So my concept was to look at some of these videos that I enjoy seeing, their finished products, look at magazines, and jot down some of the techniques that they're using. And I use those little notes so that after a while I have so many notes that I don't remember what the page looked like that made me write down that note to begin with. So as I sit down, I'm learning just the basics. I've done some videos, basic techniques. I'm starting with acrylics and some dye ink pads. There's a couple other ones on there, but we're just talking about going back to basics, learning how to start playing with some of these products that we've been using for a long time. You know, let's go back to acrylics, and let's see how layering acrylics on top of acrylics looks. Let's pay attention to some of the process and figure out what we enjoy doing. That's part of enjoying and playing. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're going to want to do some more. Now, the concept of learning how to play, I don't know how to play. I have figured out that, you know, people say, well, just play with this. Just go out and play with it, and you'll figure it out. You know, it's easy. Well, if somebody hands me a hula hoop and I have absolutely no idea what this thing is, I've never seen it before in my life, and they tell me, just go play with it, you'll have a lot of fun, just go play. Well, I'm not going to get very far if I don't know the basic concepts of how a hula hoop works. And this experiment is the same basic thing. I'm taking basic techniques and trying them over and over again with different techniques on top, and learning how to enjoy the process and enjoy finding the imperfections of some of my mistakes. You know, doing a stencil, some people don't like doing stencils because the stencil doesn't turn out the way the stencil looks. Well, I've learned that, you know, maybe some imperfections in stenciling, ink coming underneath it and causing some distortions and some smears, and that adds interest. It's interesting to sit there and look at something and be surprised at the result that you get. So this is what I am doing. I've started writing down techniques on cheat sheets. I call them cheat sheets. They're prompts, they're notes, a whole bunch. I've written down a bunch. And what I do is I sit down with my little notes and get some products around me. Now these are stencils, and they're, you know, paints that I've chosen along the way. They're stamps that I liked. There's something about them that I liked. I bought them. I have them. I might as well start using things that I like. So I get my technique sheets out there, and I don't have to think about anything anymore. I have When I think, okay, now what do? I look at my cheat sheet, and my note tells me exactly what to try next. And I've written down so many of these notes that I no longer remember what that page looked like to begin with. I'm not comparing what I'm doing now with whoever's page it was to begin with. So the idea of experimenting with the products and items that you have, and using basic techniques, going back to basics and starting with what you know and sometimes what you don't know, without any expectation of a final result. That's the whole idea of this experiment. Experimenting and learning how to play with products and techniques with no expectation. You have no idea in your mind what it's going to look like at the end. And in fact, I am not actually going for a finished product. What I am doing is I'm learning how to play, and I'm learning how to enjoy the process. Let's take a paintbrush and paint acrylic paints on a piece of paper. Do I like that? Some people, that's soothing for them just to brush paint. Some people, it's soothing to stencil. Playing, you find something that you enjoy doing. It's not, what it's going to be at the end. It's just the process of doing it. It's the process of creating, and it's lifting up that stencil and seeing the smears and the drips and whatever, and finding the beauty in that random imperfection. It's different. It's unique. It's something that you did. You had no expectations that was what it was going to look like when you started, but it's kind of cool now. It's kind of neat. So this is the book that I started, and I had started with these little pamphlets with, like I said, just random junk mail stuff that I was going to throw away. In doing some of the videos for some of the basic techniques, and please check those out to give you some ideas of some of the things that I'm starting to work with. I did enjoy doing my experiments on just a single piece of paper. So I would suggest getting some junk mail out, nothing special, and getting some paints out, some dye, inks, some stamp pads, and stamps and stencils, and just some basic stuff that you have, stuff that you've been not using. Let's use up some of that stuff. So get some papers out there. Find some techniques that you want to try. Go back to some of the basics. Look at some of the videos that I've posted. Look at some of the videos that you enjoy watching. Watch those processes. People will show you what they're using. You can see how they're using it. Write down a note and give yourself an idea of what you're talking about. Sometimes you need, some idea, scrape acrylic with a credit card. Sometimes you need a little bit more, more notes saying, use the tip of that credit card and draw lines with that acrylic on top of it. Now, if you got a piece of paper or a few pieces of paper and you start doing experiments on top of experiments, you start seeing the interesting things that develop. Yes, you're making a mess, but sometimes it's interesting. It's different. It's learning how to just play, to just do some painting or some stenciling, and not know what it's going to look like. So you're not disappointed when it doesn't look like somebody else's. So that's the whole technique, the whole idea about experimenting. Get those images out of your head, write some notes for yourself, and start learning how to play with some of these things. Like I said, I've started with the basics. Basic acrylics, basic ink pads, nothing fancy. I'm not using anything special, nothing special at all. But I am enjoying finding the mistakes and the imperfections. It's interesting. I'm learning as a recovering perfectionist. I'm learning to embrace my mistakes and to like that drip, and let's do that again. I am learning to go ahead and find something that makes me happy. I like drawing circles around my little circle stencil. I don't know what it is. I'll take a pen and I just draw circles. It's soothing. It makes me happy. It's a random weird thing. So find something that you just enjoy doing and keep doing it. And fill up a paper, put some techniques on top of other techniques. That paper gets full, it's too wet to do anything with, put it aside, get another piece of paper. Start layering some stuff on top of other stuff and seeing how things react and how they look. Start to embrace the beauty of random imperfections. Stencils aren't always supposed to be perfect. Stamps aren't always supposed to be perfect. There's interesting things to be had when you only get half a stamp, or that paint bleeds, or whatever. Who knows what you're going to come across in your experiments. So this is what I suggest. Go watch your videos, look at your magazines, write down some notes of some stuff you want to play with, some things that you want to try. Sit down and just go with your notes. Don't think about it. Don't think about what is going to happen. Think about trying to find something that makes you happy. Some process, some activity, and then find, as you're doing that, look at what you're doing and embrace that you are doing this on your own, and it's different, and maybe you will start enjoying seeing your own pages, and you want to go and try something else. Let's try a different color. Let's do this with a stamp. Let's try a different kind of paint. Let's experiment and let's go further. So this is the basic concept. Just let me leave you with this idea in mind. This is an idea of just experimenting, playing with products and basic techniques with no expectations of a final result. We're not making anything here. We are just playing. We are learning how to play. We are learning about our products. We are learning to enjoy the process, just painting or stamping or whatever. We're just learning to enjoy creating. And with that, hopefully we can find the beauty in the random imperfections and enjoy it, learning how to play. So I hope that you will try this. For those people who were so encouraging and supportive, I really appreciate all your comments and all your support. It really does mean a lot to me to know that I'm not alone, and for those people that want to try this, try it. Maybe it'll work for you and maybe it won't, but there's no harm in trying. Get those images out of your head. Write down some things that you want to try, and just start working at it. Start playing. Start learning how to play. That's the basic concept. Let's learn how to play with this stuff, and let's start loving what we're doing with our play. It's not going to be like anybody else's. It's our unique, different, interesting play. So thank you for watching. Good luck in your experiments. I will be posting more videos with more basic techniques to play with, but give me some time. I need to recoup a little bit and to refocus. Thanks for watching.